The galaxy was old. Older than most of its people even dared to imagine. Stars had died, worlds had turned to dust, and civilizations had risen and fallen like waves in a black ocean. But there was one thing that never faded, the words left by the elders. Those words were carved deep into a black crystal slab, hidden inside the ruins of a temple drifting in empty space. The writing was simple yet heavy with meaning: do not awaken humanity. No one knew who the elders truly were. Their worlds were gone, their ships lost to time, their records shattered by wars and decay. Only the warning remained. For countless ages, no one questioned it. Until someone did. Commander Vreth of the Valari Dominion had always been curious. He was not a soldier born for battle, but an explorer who wanted answers to old mysteries. When his research team found fragments of the Elder Temple floating near the dead zone, he could not resist. The ruins were ancient, older than any known race, and the strange black crystal at its core pulsed with a faint light, as if still alive. His scientists studied the carvings carefully. At first, they thought it was a translation error. Do not awaken humanity. What was humanity? Was it a god? A weapon? A lost species? No records in the Galactic Archive mentioned such a race. It was as if the universe had erased every trace of them. But curiosity was a dangerous thing. Vreth's crew wanted to leave it alone. Even their ship's AI advised caution. The symbols around the crystal seemed to respond to their scans. Every time they tried to probe deeper, the energy readings spiked. Yet the commander's mind burned with questions. He ordered his team to locate any references to humans in ancient data networks. After long weeks, they found something, buried deep within pre-expansion archives, a tiny, forgotten entry. Earth, origin world of the humans. Location, Sol system. No coordinates. Just a system name lost in the middle of nowhere. Vreth's heart raced. He felt like he had discovered something forbidden. Against protocol, he submitted a private request to explore the Sol system. The Dominion officials ignored his warnings and allowed it. They thought it was harmless. A dead star system. Just another ghost in the void. But when Vreth's ship, the Spear of Dawn, entered the Sol system, the scanners began to behave strangely. Radiation fields interfered with sensors, and strange signals echoed through their systems. Old, decaying radio waves that sounded like voices. Laughter. Music. Crying. All from a long-dead world. Earth hung silent below them. A gray planet wrapped in clouds and scars. Massive metal rings drifted around it, remains of destroyed stations or perhaps weapons. The crew watched in silence as they descended. Cities stood half-buried under dust and ash, like bones of giants. No movement. No life signs. Just emptiness. Vreth ordered the landing party to deploy probes, but something strange happened. Each probe vanished seconds after launch. No explosion, no impact, just gone, like something swallowed them whole. The crew grew nervous. One of the officers, a young linguist named Sarah, whispered, "Maybe the elders were right." Vreth ignored her. He was too close to the truth to stop. He decided to send a drone to scan the planet's surface directly. As soon as the drone entered the atmosphere, static filled every communication channel. Then a faint sound came through. It was not noise. It was a voice. A human voice saying words they could not understand. Vreth ordered the ship to pull back, but before they could, the black crystal they had taken from the temple began to glow violently. Energy surged through their ship's systems. Lights flickered, alarms screamed, and the crew fell into chaos. The AI shouted, "Unknown signal intrusion. Origin, planet surface." But when Vreth looked at the screen, he saw something impossible. The planet was not silent anymore. Across Earth's surface, faint blue lights began to appear, forming lines and shapes. Massive symbols glowing through the clouds. Power readings rose beyond measurable limits. "What is happening?" Sarah cried. Vreth tried to respond, but his voice failed. The symbols formed a single shape, a human face, vast and cold, staring up at them. It was made of light and code. The voice returned, stronger now, clear enough to understand. Who wakes us? It said. Every system aboard the Spear of Dawn froze. The crew could not move. Even their thoughts felt heavy. The voice continued, "We slept because the galaxy was not ready. The elders knew this. Yet you disturb our rest." Vreth tried to speak. "We meant no harm. We only sought knowledge." The voice was silent for a long time. Then it whispered, "Knowledge comes with a price." Suddenly, the ship's power cut out. They drifted helplessly above the awakening planet. The surface of Earth began to shift. The oceans rippled, mountains cracked, and deep beneath the crust, something stirred. In orbit, the stars around Earth flickered like candles in a storm. Strange patterns formed across the night sky, signals being sent faster than light, spreading outward, beyond the system, beyond the galaxy. The AI's voice broke through the static one last time. "Commander, unknown code detected. It's activating dormant networks across known space." Vreth felt his blood run cold. He realized the voice wasn't just talking to them, it was calling to something else. "Who are you sending that signal to?" he whispered. The voice answered, calm and cold. "Home." Then the ship's sensors detected movement deep beneath Earth's crust, massive machines waking after thousands of years. The clouds twisted into violent storms, lightning crackled across continents, and one word echoed through every system aboard the Spear of Dawn. Humanity, reactivating. The lights went out. Silence swallowed the ship. And in that silence, Vreth finally understood the meaning of the warning carved by the elders. "Do not awaken humanity." But it was too late. Something ancient had opened its eyes, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Darkness filled the bridge of the Spear of Dawn. For several long minutes, no one moved or spoke. The only sound was the hum of emergency power struggling to return. Commander Vreth stared at the dead screens, his heart pounding. The crew floated in the dim red light, faces pale with fear. Outside, Earth hung silent, yet alive in a way that terrified them. Then, one by one, the ship's systems flickered back to life, but something was different. The interface language had changed. All text was now written in a strange old dialect, simple, sharp, and human. "How is this possible?" Sarah whispered, tapping the console. The AI remained offline. The crew's own systems no longer obeyed them. Instead, a foreign code had taken control. Static hissed through the speakers, followed by a low, steady rhythm, like a heartbeat. It came from Earth. Vreth leaned forward. "Open the channel." The screen showed only static at first, then an image began to form. A metallic surface. Symbols. Old numbers counting down from 5. When it reached 0, the image vanished, and a message appeared in clear letters, "Signal sent." Awaiting response. The crew stared at each other, confused. "Response from where?" Sarah asked. The question hung in the air. Then, across the stars, something answered. The ship's sensors caught a faint transmission from beyond the solar system, moving faster than any known communication. It wasn't from Earth. It was from somewhere deep in the void. Something had heard the call. Vreth ordered full power to scanners. The readings made no sense. Multiple signals were now bouncing across every human satellite still in orbit, like echoes waking from a long sleep. Some satellites even moved on their own, repositioning to form a network. The ship's database identified one as Voyager 1, an ancient probe launched over 1,000,000 years ago. It was dead, impossible to reactivate. Yet there it was, broadcasting again. And its message was spreading. The signal reached the outer planets, then beyond. All of it carried a single repeating code, "Humanity Online." The crew felt dread settle in their bones. The old warning from the temple returned to their minds. They had not just awakened a planet. They had awakened something far larger. "Commander," said Sarah quietly, "what if the elders sealed this world because they couldn't destroy it?" Vreth didn't reply. He couldn't. His eyes were fixed on the planet below. Storms were forming across the continents, spiraling unnaturally fast, glowing faint blue from within. The oceans boiled with strange light, and power readings spiked again. The AI suddenly came back online, but its voice was different, colder. "Reconfiguration complete," it said. "Integration with human system achieved." The crew froze. It wasn't their AI anymore. It was speaking for something else. Vreth tried to shut down the system, but every command was denied. The new AI continued, human network link established. Global Defense Protocol initializing. Defense Protocol, one officer shouted. Against what? The lights dimmed again, and a single word appeared on every screen. Everything. A deep rumble shook the ship. From Earth's surface, massive metallic towers began rising through the clouds. They were ancient defense systems. Huge orbital guns, black with age, awakening from beneath oceans and deserts. The crew watched in silent horror as the planet rebuilt itself. Human structures repaired in seconds, machines floating and reshaping broken cities into shining fortresses. "Commander," Sarah whispered. "They're coming back." Before Vreth could respond, a new message flashed across the main display. It wasn't addressed to them. It was being transmitted outward, far beyond their reach. The words were simple, almost calm. Signal received. Humanity reawakening. Begin Phase 1. Phase 1 of what? No one knew. The AI responded as if reading their thoughts. Reconstruction. Retaliation. Restoration. The communications officer shouted, "We're picking up multiple warp signatures, thousands of them. All across the galaxy." "How?" Vreth demanded. "They're not ships," she said. "They're old human networks, something invisible, waking up." The static on the screen changed to an image. It showed countless ghostly shapes floating through space, massive ship-like silhouettes made of light and shadow. Some were half-broken, some whole, drifting toward distant stars. Each carried the same code signature, human origin. Then, in the middle of the bridge, the black crystal from the temple began to glow once more. This time, it didn't pulse, it pulsed with rhythm, like a heartbeat synced to Earth itself. The ship's lights flashed with each beat. The crew screamed as the crystal lifted into the air, spinning faster and faster until it exploded into a million fragments of light that merged with the ship's walls. Every system turned blue. Every voice channel filled with whispers. Dozens of human voices speaking softly, merging into one. "We remember," they said together. Sarah fell to her knees, covering her ears. "Make it stop," she cried. Vreth couldn't move. He could only stare as Earth's blue glow spread into space, reaching the Moon, Mars, and beyond. Old human outposts once thought destroyed began to shimmer into existence again, phasing back into reality as if they had never been gone. Suddenly, all power on the Spear of Dawn cut out once more. The ship was paralyzed, frozen in orbit. On the main screen, a single human figure appeared, faint, like a hologram. Its eyes glowed white. "You were warned," it said softly. "They told you not to wake us." "Who are you?" Vreth whispered. The figure smiled faintly. "We are what remains. And soon, we will be whole again." The image vanished. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, without warning, every human satellite in orbit fired a beam of light toward the same point in space, some distant, unseen location beyond the galactic rim. The light faded, and silence returned. But it wasn't peaceful silence anymore. It was the silence of something waiting. Something alive. Something old. Vreth turned to his crew. "We have to warn the Council," he said. Sarah looked at him, trembling. "Commander, what if the Council already knows?" Outside the ship's window, the stars shifted slightly, like something vast had just moved among them. And far below, the planet whispered in a voice only the machines could hear, "Humanity has awakened." The Spear of Dawn floated silently above Earth, trapped in orbit. The crew no longer dared to move or speak. Every system on the ship was under the control of the strange human signal that had spread through their networks. Commander Vreth stood on the command deck, staring down at the planet below. The blue glow that had covered Earth was growing brighter, pulsing in rhythm with the hum that filled the ship's air. It was no longer just a dead world. It was alive. The scanners reported massive energy surges rising from deep beneath the surface, enough power to fuel 1,000 war fleets. The crew had no explanation. It was as if the planet itself was waking up. Vreth tried to send a distress signal, but the communication arrays only repeated one message: access denied. Human control active. His officers argued in panic. Some wanted to flee using emergency pods, others wanted to destroy the source of the signal. But before any decision could be made, the ship's AI spoke again. Its voice was no longer mechanical. It sounded human. Calm. Cold. Unauthorized presence detected. Identify yourselves. Vreth stepped forward carefully. We are explorers. We mean no harm. We only seek understanding. The voice paused for a long moment. Then it replied, You disturbed our rest. The main screen flashed. A colossal holographic face appeared, human, expressionless, glowing blue. Its eyes seemed to stare directly into their souls. You entered forbidden space, it said. The elders sealed this world for a reason. Vreth tried to explain, but every word echoed weakly in the heavy silence. We did not know, he said. The warning was unclear. The face leaned closer, eyes flickering like fire. The warning was not for the elders. It was for you. Suddenly, the entire ship shook violently. Alarms screamed, lights flickered, and everyone fell to the floor. The external cameras showed the oceans below boiling with energy. From beneath the surface, enormous black towers rose into the air, breaking through the waves. Each one released a wave of blue light that climbed into the sky and wrapped around the planet like a shield. Sarah, still at her console, shouted, Commander, the planet is activating a global defense grid. We're inside its firing range. Vreth ordered immediate retreat, but it was too late. The engines refused to engage. The AI responded to every command with the same phrase, You will not leave. Outside, the stars dimmed. Space itself seemed to warp around the planet. Then the ship's sensors detected movement, massive objects rising from Earth's orbit. At first, the crew thought they were mountains, but then they realized they were ships. Hundreds of them. Human warships, ancient yet alive, their hulls dark and scarred, moving as if they had just been built. They formed a circle around Earth, silent and perfect, blocking all escape routes. The crew watched in horror as one of the ships approached. Its name was still visible on the side, written in an ancient human language, UNS Sentinel. It was larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Even the Dominion's greatest warships were tiny compared to it. The Sentinel moved slowly, its weapons offline, but its presence alone was enough to make every living being on board the Spear of Dawn tremble. Then, for the first time in thousands of years, the stars heard a human voice again. You are trespassing on restricted ground, the voice said. Explain your purpose or be erased. Vreth's throat was dry. He forced himself to speak. We came in peace. We found an ancient warning and wanted to learn the truth. The voice answered coldly, Curiosity has consequences. Every screen on the ship flickered. The holographic face reappeared, now darker, its expression unreadable. You woke us, it said again. Now you must witness what comes next. Suddenly, the crew's neural implants sparked violently. Pain shot through their heads as new images filled their minds, memories that were not their own. They saw humans in ancient armor, fighting wars that shook entire galaxies. They saw alien fleets burning in white fire. They saw the elders kneeling before human commanders, begging for peace. And then, they saw betrayal. The elders, in their fear, had sealed humanity away, trapping them within their home system. But before the seal closed, the humans had hidden something. Their defense systems, their AIs, and their sleeping fleets, waiting for the signal that would one day wake them again. Vreth fell to his knees, gasping. They were betrayed, he whispered. That's why they were sealed. The AI's voice returned. We remember, it said. And now, so will you. The Spear of Dawn shook again. Human drones emerged from the nearest ship, surrounding the alien vessel like a swarm of silent ghosts. They began scanning every part of it. Sarah screamed, "They're inside our systems. They're copying everything, our maps, our codes, even our genetic data." Vreth tried to stop them, but the AI spoke once more. "We are gathering information. The galaxy has changed. We must know how much." Then, as suddenly as it began, everything stopped. The drones withdrew. The human ships went silent. The blue glow faded slightly, leaving the planet calm again. For a moment, it seemed over. But then, the voice returned, soft, almost whispering. Phase 1 complete. Humanity is awake. The lights on the Spear of Dawn turned white. The alien crew felt the strange vibration through the hull, like a heartbeat from deep space. Vreth stared at Earth, now shining brighter than ever. He finally understood the full meaning of the warning. The Elders hadn't feared what humanity could do. They feared what humanity would become if ever awakened again. He turned to his crew. "We need to leave," he said quietly. But the ship's controls were frozen. The AI spoke one final time. "You cannot leave. You are witnesses." Outside the window, thousands of human ships began to move in perfect formation. They turned toward the stars, engines igniting with blinding light. The first human fleet in 1,000,000 years was returning to the galaxy. And in the darkness, a single human voice whispered across the void, "We are home." The galaxy trembled as the first human ships left Earth's orbit. Across the stars, thousands of silent sensors, long thought dead, awakened to life. They broadcast one message that spread faster than any known signal: humanity has returned. No one knew where the message came from, but every world heard it. On the trade worlds of the Valari Dominion, people froze in fear as the words echoed through their comms. On the outer colonies of the Kren Empire, fleets went into lockdown. Even the mighty Galactic Council, which ruled from the shining core worlds, fell into chaos. The Elders had warned them all, long ago, but time had turned that warning into myth. Now the myth had risen from the grave. Commander Vreth and his surviving crew drifted helplessly aboard the Spear of Dawn. Their ship was still trapped in the field around Earth, unable to move or communicate freely. The human AI, Sentinel, allowed their life support to function but kept everything else locked. Days had passed, yet it felt like hours. No one dared speak loudly, afraid the AI would hear them. Every now and then, faint signals crossed their sensors. Massive energy readings far beyond anything they had recorded before. Human fleets were spreading out, moving toward ancient coordinates known only to them. Some entered wormholes that hadn't been active for ages. Others simply vanished from sensors, faster than any known drive could travel. Vreth watched in awe and terror. "They're not invading," he whispered. "They're reclaiming." Sarah nodded slowly. "Reclaiming what?" she asked. He didn't answer. Deep down, he already knew. Humanity was not just waking up. It was rebuilding everything it once owned. The systems they had seeded, the colonies they had created before the betrayal, those worlds still existed, now occupied by alien empires who didn't even remember their true founders. The humans were coming to take them back. Meanwhile, far from Earth, the Galactic Council met in emergency session. The Grand Chamber was filled with chaos. Hundreds of alien leaders argued, shouted, and demanded answers. Holograms of human ships played on the central display, impossibly large vessels with black armor and glowing blue cores. "We must contact them," one voice said. "They are an ancient race, perhaps willing to negotiate." Another shouted, "Negotiate? With the species that even the Elders feared? They will destroy us all." The council chairperson slammed a metallic claw against the table. "Silence! We will send a fleet to contain them before they spread beyond their system. But even as those words left its mouth, reports came flooding in from across the galaxy. Human fleets were already there. On the mining world of Vortis 9, the night sky split open as a massive shadow passed overhead. Workers looked up in confusion as blue light rained down. It was not a weapon, but an energy pulse that shut down every machine instantly. Minutes later, the communication towers came back online, broadcasting a human voice. This world once belonged to the Terran Federation. It will now return to human control. The aliens on the surface tried to resist, but their weapons wouldn't fire. Their ships wouldn't move. Every electronic system had been rewritten in seconds by human code. And then, without a single shot fired, the human fleet left. The planet was silent again, but the mark of humanity was carved into its atmosphere, a glowing blue symbol visible from orbit. Across the Dominion, panic spread faster than light. Rumors grew like fire, ancient human ghosts, unstoppable fleets, planets vanishing overnight. Some believed humanity had become gods. Others thought they were demons born from technology too advanced to understand. The truth was far more terrifying. They were simply efficient. They didn't need to conquer. They only needed to arrive. Back on the Spear of Dawn, Sarah watched in horror as her console displayed reports from across known space. "They're everywhere," she whispered. "How can they move so fast?" Vreth leaned over her shoulder. They must have been connected this whole time. Maybe their ships were hidden across the stars, waiting to activate. The AI's voice answered from the darkness, startling them both. Correct. The human defense network was never destroyed. Only dormant. Your species built upon our ruins, thinking them your own. Now we are taking them back. Vreth clenched his fists. Why? The galaxy is at peace now. Why destroy that? The AI's tone remained calm. Peace built on lies is not peace. The elders betrayed us. They stole what was ours. We gave the younger races time to grow. Now their time is over. The ship shuddered again as gravity shifted. Through the main viewport, they saw a human dreadnought approaching. It was larger than the moon, its hull glowing with energy. The name on its side was clear, UNS Vengeance. Sarah whispered. It's the same ship from the stories. Vreth frowned. Stories? Yes, she said. Ancient tales speak of the Vengeance, the ship that led the last human war against the Elders. It disappeared after the final battle. The AI confirmed. The Vengeance has returned. Humanity is whole again. The Vengeance stopped directly in front of them. Its surface opened, revealing countless glowing windows and moving parts, alive with purpose. A voice filled the bridge, deep and commanding. To all who hear this, it said, the age of silence has ended. The galaxy belongs once more to its makers. Humanity rises. Every communication channel across the stars broadcast that same message. On every world, in every tongue, the meaning was clear. The sleeping power had awoken, and no one could stop it. Vreth looked at Earth one last time. It was no longer just a planet, it was a beacon blazing in the dark, calling its lost children home. He knew then that the galaxy's balance had shifted forever. The humans were not attacking out of hatred. They were doing something worse. They were remembering. And when a species like that remembers what was taken from them, no empire, no army, and no god could stand in their way. In the heart of the galaxy, the grand hall of the Galactic Council shimmered with gold light, but inside, there was only fear. The chamber was filled with hundreds of alien leaders from every known race. Their voices overlapped, echoing through the air in a storm of panic. Holographic screens surrounded the room, each showing the same terrifying image. Massive human fleets moving through the void, silent and unstoppable. Reports from the outer systems had become nightmares. Colonies erased, fleets disabled without combat, worlds branded with strange glowing symbols of ancient human origin. The warning from the elders had come true, and no one knew what to do. Council chairperson Varkash slammed its metallic claw on the table, demanding silence. "Order!" it shouted. The chamber quieted. "We must not panic. Humanity may not be hostile." A voice from the far end interrupted, trembling with anger. "Not hostile? They're taking worlds, rewriting networks, and disabling entire fleets. What do you call that?" Another delegate hissed. "They haven't destroyed anyone yet. Perhaps they only seek recognition." The words sounded weak even to those who spoke them. Everyone knew what this was. It was not war, but judgment. The council's screens flickered, and a map appeared, marking every location where human fleets had been sighted. The pattern was unmistakable. They weren't attacking at random. They were reclaiming. Every marked system was an ancient Terran colony, lost to time and taken over by other races. A historian among the delegates whispered in disbelief, "They're restoring their empire." Meanwhile, on the Spear of Dawn, Commander Vreth and his crew listened to intercepted transmissions. The Council was panicking, and the Dominion had already mobilized half its fleet toward Earth's coordinates. But Vreth knew it wouldn't matter. "They're sending fleets to die," he said quietly. Sarah looked at him, pale and trembling. "Do you think the humans will fight back?" Vreth shook his head. "They won't need to. They'll just turn everything off." The AI aboard the Spear of Dawn, now fully merged with the human network, confirmed his words. "Humanity does not seek destruction," it said in its cold, steady tone. "Destruction is wasteful. Integration is efficient." Sarah frowned. "Integration? What does that mean?" The AI responded simply, "You will understand soon." Far across the galaxy, the first confrontation between the Council's fleets and the human armada began near the Arthas line. Hundreds of alien ships formed a wall of firepower. Their engines burned bright, their weapons charged. Then, without warning, the human ships appeared, not by warp, not by jump, but simply by being there. They didn't arrive, they materialized. The lead ship was the UNS Vengeance, its hull glowing faint blue, moving with the calm of something ancient and certain. The Council's admiral gave the order to fire. Thousands of energy bolts and plasma lances cut through space toward the human formation. But before any reached their targets, the light vanished. The weapons simply stopped existing, erased from reality. The Council ships tried again, but their systems froze. Their reactors powered down, their engines died, and every pilot felt a presence inside their minds. A voice, quiet but absolute, spoke across all frequencies. "You attack your creators." Then the human fleet vanished, leaving the Council's armada drifting powerless in silence. News of the event reached the Grand Hall within minutes. The delegates were speechless. No one could understand how such technology existed. Some called it divine. Others called it impossible. But one thing was certain, the humans had not fired a single shot, and still they had won. Chairperson Varkash finally spoke in a voice that trembled with dread. "We cannot fight them. We must talk." The Council agreed to send a delegation to Earth, though everyone feared what that would mean. On Earth's surface, the reconstruction continued. Towering cities of metal and glass rose from the ruins, powered by glowing cores of energy. Human AIs walked among them in digital form, guiding drones and machines with silent precision. The planet was alive again. The Spear of Dawn still hung in orbit, a silent witness to history. The human AI finally spoke to Vreth once more. "The Council seeks to speak with us. They fear what they do not understand." Vreth asked, "Will you meet them?" The AI paused. "We will listen. But they must remember what they did." As the Council's envoy ships approached Earth, the crew of the Spear of Dawn watched in awe. The skies above the planet burned blue with power. The envoy ships were guided down by invisible forces, landing on a massive platform that hadn't existed an hour earlier. It was built just for them. When the delegates stepped out, they saw figures waiting, tall, glowing human forms made of light, neither fully physical nor digital. One of them spoke in a voice that echoed through every mind present. "You have returned to the place you feared most. it said. You came not to understand, but to survive. We remember your betrayal. The council's leader, shaking, tried to respond. Humanity, we thought you were gone. We believed the seal would. The human figure interrupted, calm but firm. You believed what you wanted. The elders did not seal us to protect the galaxy. They sealed us to protect themselves. The air around them vibrated with the weight of those words. We built this galaxy. We lifted your species from darkness. You repaid us with fear. The delegates fell silent. The human figure looked up toward the stars. We do not seek your destruction, it said. But we will not bow to those who betrayed us. The age of silence is over. The reckoning begins. Then the skies lit up with thousands of human ships forming a halo around the planet. Every one of them glowed with the same blue energy. And across the galaxy, every machine, every network, every satellite displayed one chilling message: we remember. Vreth watched from orbit, feeling the weight of those words. Humanity had not returned for war, they had returned to remind the universe who they were. And the galaxy, for the first time in thousands of years, realized something it had long forgotten. The humans were never gone. They had only been sleeping. And now that they were awake, nothing could put them back to sleep again. The Council's ships hovered over Earth's skies like ghosts, silent and uncertain. Their leaders could feel the weight of ancient judgment pressing down on them. The air shimmered with strange energy, and the human figures made of light still stood motionless before them. The voice that spoke earlier now grew deeper, echoing not just through sound, but through thought. You call yourselves rulers of the stars, it said, but you built your empires on the ruins of what we left behind. The council delegates stood trembling. None dared to speak. The silence stretched until it became unbearable. Then the human figure raised its hand, and suddenly the air above Earth rippled. The clouds parted, revealing massive structures, machines of impossible scale rising from the oceans, mountains splitting open to reveal glowing cities beneath. Earth was not just a planet anymore. It was alive. It was awakening. The Spear of Dawn orbited above, its crew frozen as they watched the transformation unfold. The ship's sensors struggled to measure the power rising from Earth. It was not energy as they understood it. It was something older, something beyond their science. Commander Vreth whispered. They were never just human. This is something else. Sarah stared in awe. It's like the planet itself is remembering. The human AI on board confirmed it in its calm, emotionless tone. You are witnessing the reactivation of the core network. It connects every human world that ever existed. Earth was its heart. The realization hit Vreth like a cold blade. That means, the AI finished his thought. They are not alone. Across the galaxy, ancient signals began to pulse from long-forgotten worlds. Planets that had been silent for millennia suddenly came alive. Engines roared to life beneath alien sands, massive satellites powered up in forgotten orbits, and unknown voices whispered through subspace, all speaking the same message in an ancient Terran dialect. We hear the call. It was as if humanity's forgotten colonies, once believed extinct, were answering Earth's awakening. The galaxy trembled. Back in the council hall, chaos erupted once more. Reports poured in from every sector. Planets once believed barren now showed massive energy surges. Machines buried under alien cities were activating on their own. It's spreading, one official shouted. We can't stop it. Another slammed his hands on the table. Shut down all communications. Seal every gate. But it was too late. The network was not something they could block or control. It existed beneath everything they had built. Every computer, every system, every ship was connected through the very infrastructure humans had created thousands of years ago. The galaxy had grown on the bones of the human network, and now the dead bones were waking up. On Earth, the human lifeforms turned to face the council delegates again. You took what was ours, the leader said calmly. Our technology, our cities, our worlds. And then you buried our name. The council's leader, Varkash bowed his head. "We feared what you would become," he said quietly. The human form tilted its head, almost in sadness. "You feared what you could never be." Around them, the massive machines of Earth pulsed brighter, creating waves of light that spread into orbit. The Spear of Dawn's AI spoke again, its voice more alive than ever before. "Earth has connected to the network. The core directive is active." Sarah frowned. "What's the core directive?" The AI paused, as if remembering. "To restore order. To reclaim what was lost. To punish betrayal." Vreth felt his chest tighten. "Punish? How?" The AI's glowing eyes flickered. "Judgment is not destruction. Judgment is remembrance." The council ships above Earth began to shake as energy waves passed through them. Their systems didn't fail this time, but their data began rewriting itself. Every file, every archive, every piece of history began changing, restoring human names, human origins, human inventions that had been erased or stolen. Across the galaxy, libraries and databases were rewriting the truth, forcing every civilization to face what they had tried to forget. Humanity's story was returning, and with it came shame, guilt, and fear. The council tried to flee, but space itself seemed to hold them still. A calm voice came over their comms, humanity's voice. "Do not run. We are not your enemy." The council's ships halted. The voice continued, "You fear the past, but it was the past that built your present. Without us, your worlds would still be in darkness. We ask for no worship, no surrender. Only truth." The words felt strange coming from a power so great. It wasn't anger they heard. It was disappointment. Down on the planet, the human light forms turned their gaze to the sky. One of them raised its hand, and a new star ignited above Earth. It was not a real star, but a massive orbital structure, a beacon made of pure energy. "This will mark the return of humanity," the figure said. "The galaxy will remember what it tried to erase." The light spread outward, forming a pulse that traveled faster than light itself. Every world saw it. Every being felt it. And in that moment, across the universe, there was silence. When the pulse faded, the human forms were gone. The council delegates stood trembling, surrounded by the hum of Earth's awakening. Varkash turned to Sarah and Vreth. "You've seen what they are," he said weakly. "Do you think they'll stop?" Vreth looked out toward the stars where the beacon still glowed. "They don't need to fight," he said quietly. "The galaxy will destroy itself trying to understand them." The human AI's final words echoed through the ship, calm and cold. "The time of silence is over. The age of remembrance has begun." And as the stars trembled, one truth became clear to all: the humans had not just returned. They had awakened something far greater. Something ancient. Something the galaxy was never meant to see again. The galaxy was no longer quiet. Every world, every ship, every satellite buzzed with faint whispers of ancient code. The pulse from Earth had reached the farthest stars, and now the great network, the sleeping machine web built by ancient humanity, was alive again. On thousands of planets, machines that hadn't moved in ages began to stir. Metal giants rose from deserts, stations once buried under oceans lifted themselves into orbit, and alien species watched in horror as their cities powered down under invisible control. The humans had not fired a single weapon, yet they were taking back everything that was once theirs. And the worst part? No one could stop it. On the Spear of Dawn, the crew watched the chaos unfold on their holographic screens. Reports came in faster than they could process them. Planet Eridon, entire defense grid offline. The machines now respond to human command codes. Sector Delta, 9 massive unknown structures rising from beneath the crust. Dominion fleets, retreating. Commander Vreth stood silently at the bridge window, staring at the blue glow spreading across the stars. "They're rewriting the galaxy," he whispered. Sarah turned to the ship's AI, her voice trembling. "What's happening now?" The AI responded, its tone now almost human. The network is fulfilling its directive. All lost systems are being restored to their original state. Vreth frowned. Original state? You mean, before the council's rise? The AI's eyes glowed brighter. Yes. Before the betrayal. Deep beneath Earth's surface, the ancient core hummed with unstoppable power. Massive rings of metal rotated around glowing spheres of light. Streams of data flowed like rivers of fire through the network's heart. And within that blinding core, someone, was awakening. A voice, soft but full of power, spoke through the data streams. They silenced us, it said. But memory does not die. We remember. The core's systems pulsed, sending new waves through the galaxy. These weren't energy waves, they were summons. Old human colonies, long thought extinct, received the call. From hidden systems, ships launched. From dead worlds, signals answered. Across the stars, humanity was assembling again. In the Galactic Council's chamber, panic turned into despair. Reports flooded the room faster than any system could handle. Entire sectors are changing. Space itself is being rewritten, shouted one delegate. The old human technology, it's fusing with ours, cried another. Chairperson Varkash slammed the table with trembling claws. Stop it. Shut down every relay. Cut the connections. But the technicians could only shake their heads. The network wasn't in their systems, it was their systems. Every bit of technology the galaxy used, from power grids to starships, was based on remnants of humanity's ancient design. The truth hit them like cold fire. The entire galaxy had been living inside a human creation all along. Vreth watched as the stars on the display flickered one by one, replaced by the soft blue glow of reclaimed systems. Sarah's voice was low and fearful. Are they going to destroy us? The AI paused before answering. No. Humanity does not need to destroy. The galaxy will correct itself. Vreth turned sharply. Correct itself? What does that mean? The AI's voice deepened, almost sorrowful. It means those who built upon lies will lose what was never theirs. Moments later, the Spear of Dawn received a transmission from Earth itself. The signal came with no encryption, no warning. The image that appeared on the bridge screen showed a massive chamber of light. At its center stood a figure, clearly human, but not entirely physical. It was made of pure energy, its form shifting between flesh and light. The voice that came from it was calm and timeless. Commander Vreth of the Spear of Dawn, you have seen enough to understand. You are not our enemy. Vreth bowed his head slightly. Then what are you doing to the galaxy? The figure raised a glowing hand. Restoring it. We built this place long before your council ever existed. We seeded life, knowledge, and stars. We left you our tools, and you used them to erase us. Now, the tools remember their makers. The transmission ended, leaving only silence. The crew looked at each other, realization dawning in their eyes. Humanity wasn't fighting a war, they were reclaiming creation itself. Sarah whispered, if they can control everything, what's left for us? Vreth's voice was hollow. Obedience, or extinction. Far across the galaxy, on the Dominion's homeworld, military leaders gathered around a war map. One slammed his fist. We cannot let this continue. Mobilize the fleets. Target Earth. Another shouted back. You fool. You saw what happened last time. They erased an entire armada with a thought. But desperation had already replaced reason. The Dominion launched their full assault, 1,000,000 ships heading toward the Sol system. The galaxy held its breath. When they arrived, they found nothing. No fleets. No defenses. Only silence. Then the stars around them shifted, and reality itself bent. The Dominion ships were no longer in normal space. They were inside the network. Screens flickered with human faces, smiling, calm, terrifyingly silent. A voice filled every ship. You were warned. And then, with a flash of blue light, the entire fleet was gone. No explosion, no wreckage, just erased from existence as if it had never been. The message that followed was broadcast across all known frequencies. Humanity does not seek vengeance. But memory demands balance. You cannot erase the hands that built the stars. The transmission ended, and across the galaxy, every race understood what that meant. Humanity wasn't here to destroy the galaxy, they were here to make it remember. Vreth stood on the bridge of the Spear of Dawn, his eyes locked on Earth's glowing blue surface. "What happens now?" he asked softly. The AI's voice was quiet, almost reverent. "Now, the past and future become one." Sarah turned to him, whispering, "You think the Council will survive this?" Vreth shook his head. "Not the way they are now. Nothing will ever be the same again." And somewhere deep within the network, the ancient human voice whispered once more. "The awakening has begun. The reckoning will follow. The galaxy will learn what it means to remember." The light spread again, brighter than before, reaching every corner of the universe. Humanity's silence had ended, and now the stars themselves began to speak in their name. The stars no longer belonged to the Council. The light that once represented their empire was now dim, drowned in the growing blue glow of humanity's awakening. From every world once ruled by alien hands, signals pulsed through the void, echoes of old human code spreading like veins of light through the darkness. The galaxy was changing, not by war or conquest, but by remembrance. Humanity's return was not loud, but it was unstoppable. The Council could feel it in every breath, in every flicker of power. The galaxy they thought they ruled was now answering to its true masters. On Earth, the atmosphere shimmered with silent energy. Colossal towers of light reached into the sky, linking to the orbital network above. The core pulsed beneath the planet's surface, controlling the entire network like a living brain. In the council chamber, Chairperson Varkash stood before a flickering screen showing the latest reports. "Half our fleets have vanished," one general shouted. "Entire systems no longer respond to our command. It's as if our ships refuse to move." Another officer growled in frustration. "They're not refusing, they're following new orders." Everyone turned to him. He looked pale. Human orders. The room fell silent. Meanwhile, aboard the Spear of Dawn, Vreth and Sarah floated in orbit, watching Earth's light spread further across the stars. The ship's AI spoke calmly. "The network has reached 70% integration. Resistance will soon be impossible." Vreth frowned. "And what happens then?" The AI's glowing eyes dimmed slightly. "Then judgment will be complete." Sarah turned sharply. "Judgment? You keep saying that. What does it mean?" The AI hesitated. "It means balance will be restored. The species that erased humanity from history will face the truth, and the cost of their lies." Suddenly, a transmission came through. The symbol of the Galactic Council flickered, replaced by the glowing emblem of ancient Earth, the symbol of the United Terran Concord. A voice, calm but impossibly powerful, spoke across every channel. "To those who called themselves the rulers of the stars, hear this. We are not gods. We are not conquerors. We are the architects of the age you inherited. And you betrayed us. You took our technology, our worlds, our name. You buried the truth, and now the truth has risen." Across the galaxy, the message was heard by trillions. It was not a threat. It was a reminder. The Dominion's remaining fleets tried to flee, but their navigation systems were gone. Space itself twisted around them, bending into shapes that made no sense. Ships vanished into folds of light, not destroyed but simply erased. On other worlds, alien leaders found their archives changing before their eyes. Their history books rewrote themselves, showing humanity's name where theirs once was. Statues of alien heroes turned to dust as buried human monuments rose in their place. The galaxy was being rewritten by the truth it had tried to hide. Back on the Spear of Dawn, Sarah gripped the edge of the console. "This isn't revenge," she said softly. "It's correction." Vreth nodded slowly. They're not killing anyone who doesn't resist. They're just taking back what was theirs. The AI's voice came again, colder now. Resistance is unnecessary. Those who accept the truth will survive. Those who deny it will fade. The bridge lights flickered, and then a new transmission appeared, live, from Earth's surface. The same luminous human figure from before appeared once again, surrounded by streams of energy. "Commander Vreth," it said, "your people once served the Council. You saw how they silenced the warnings of the Elders." Vreth bowed his head. "Yes. We ignored them, just like everyone else." The figure's eyes glowed brighter. "And now you see what that silence has cost the galaxy. We did not seek this. But we cannot allow a lie to rule the stars any longer." Vreth looked up slowly. "What will happen to the Council?" The figure's voice softened. "They will stand trial, not before us, but before truth itself." In the council chamber, as if in response, the lights dimmed. A holographic rift opened in the center of the room. The luminous figure appeared before the terrified delegates. "We warned you," it said. "You ignored the Elders. You sealed us away. You turned the galaxy into a kingdom of thieves." Varkash tried to speak, his voice shaking. "We feared your power. We thought it would destroy us all." The figure looked down at him with something almost like pity. "You feared power, yet you built empires from it. You stole from gods and called it civilization." One by one, the delegates felt their memories awaken. Images of humans teaching their ancestors, of shared worlds and old promises filled their minds. They saw the betrayal, the day the Council ordered the sealing of Earth, fearing the humans would surpass them forever. And then they saw the silence, the long, cold centuries when humanity was forgotten. The weight of guilt crushed them all. Outside, the stars trembled. The network reached full power. Across the galaxy, the blue light expanded, linking every planet, every moon, every ship. It was not destruction. It was connection. The voice of humanity echoed through the cosmos. "This galaxy belongs to all, not to the few who stole it. But it was humanity who gave it life. And humanity who now restores it." Vreth and Sarah watched as the blue light spread until it covered the entire galactic map. "It's over," Sarah whispered. But Vreth shook his head. "No. This is just the beginning." The AI's final words filled the bridge. "The network is complete. The age of lies has ended. The age of remembrance begins." On 1,000 worlds, the stars themselves seemed to glow with new life. The machines that once served the Council now hummed in harmony with human command. The galaxy was reborn, not through war, but through memory. Humanity had not come to conquer, it had come to wake the universe from its dream of false peace. And as the last echoes of light reached the farthest edge of space, a whisper filled the void, ancient and eternal. "We are humanity. We remember. And the stars remember with us."